Hello, brothers and sisters. In this video, I'm going to go over what my take is on the 7 scrolls that are opened in the book of Revelations, and to kind of show you where I come from with understanding this and where it is to me. And it's a little bit of history, and then a little bit of what kind of God has shared with me. So he came to me in a song. This was a couple months ago. I actually wrote about this on my website, the music that he kind of led me to. And one of the songs that he led me to was Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. And there's a particular lyric in that song which states, "And 2 riders were approaching, and the wind begins to howl." So just remember that lyric as I go through these scrolls. So if we go back through history a little bit, and I'm going to start in Revelations chapter 6. The first scroll is opened by the Lamb, the first of the 7 seals. And it says, "Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like thunder, 'Come.' I looked, and there before me a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest." Now, there are many conquests that we can look back in history. I don't even really need to explain them to you. Napoleon, you can look at Nazi Germany, you can look at conquests all the way through the Egyptian Empire, look at conquests of the Holy Roman Empire. I mean, there's conquests everywhere throughout history. So we know that that was a seal that has already occurred, okay, thinking from a historical standpoint. The second seal is another horse, and this time it's a fiery red one, and its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other, and to him was given a large sword. Now you think about the second seal. Of course, that has been happening again since the time Christ was here and before Christ. This seal has been open for a very long time. If you're considering that, there is no peace on the earth for the last 2,000 years specifically. And it's just continued to get worse. So we're thinking about taking peace away from the earth. That's the second seal. It's already been here and it's already happened. So then let's take a look at the third seal. And in the third seal was a black horse, and its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. This is a seal, again to me, speaking historically, has been opened. So all it is talking in the way of a person's going to make a wage, and you're going to take that wage, and you're going to buy things with it to survive. It's just a system. This seal brings about a system of government, money, all kind of stuff. And it's basically just talking about even slave wages. You know, you do a day's work, I'm going to give you enough to survive, and that's all you're going to be able to have. So certainly throughout history, you could look at this third seal and say that that has indeed occurred. So then the fourth seal we move on to, and it's, I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given a power over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Think back historically. Think about the Great Plagues. Think about the flu epidemic in 1918. You see, all of this stuff has already happened, and certainly more than 1/4 of the earth has been killed by war and everything else. But to me, what this is saying is that over the course of time, not just in one particular instant, this seal happens and everything has occurred. Over the course of time, at least 1/4 of the earth has been killed by sword, famine, and plague, and wild beasts. Probably more than that, as it says here. They were given a power over the 1/4 of the earth. But you can't even comprehend how many billions of people there have been on the planet, as opposed to how many have died by those particular things. But to me, it would certainly be at least the fourth of the earth were killed by those instances throughout history. So again, I'm just kind of using some common sense of what these seals are referring to. So then he opens the 5th seal, and he see under the altars those who have been slain because of the word of God and the testimony that they had maintained. They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood." Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer, until the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers and sisters, were killed just as they had been. So that fifth seal, if you look back to the Holy Roman Empire and the conquering that the church did throughout all the earlier centuries, really up until the 1500s or whatever the last, I don't know exactly when all these crusades ended and so forth. But I'm saying that from that time period, certainly there's been great conquest of people who were killed, who were validating the name of Christ, and they were killed anyway. And then you also look to all the people since then who have been killed by other religious facts, like the Islamic wars in which we see today, which Islam is persecuting Christians, even though the government doesn't want you to believe that. All you got to do is look to the news and you see it. So all things like that, it's still happening. And that's why I say that we're still in this fifth seal, because they're talking about, how long must we remain? How long must we wait until our blood is avenged? And that's whenever the sovereign Lord says, just wait a little longer until the full number of us have been killed or have left this earth, kind of in that manner. So we're going to be the ones who are still here right now in this fifth seal. Now, remember that I told you about that song that the Lord led me to, and that was Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower. And that's saying, "And two riders were approaching, and the wind begins to howl." So that, to me, I was asking a question about the book of Revelations whenever he led me to that song. And clearly, if we are at the fifth seal, and the first seal started off as a rider and so on and so forth, it would make logical sense to me that what he has indeed said to me at that time was that there are two more seals approaching, the sixth and the seventh seal. And the sixth seal, we know, after I saw four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, holding back the four winds of the earth to prevent any wind from blowing on the land or the sea or on any tree. Then I saw another angel coming up from the east, having the seal of the living God. He called out in a loud voice to the four angels who have been given power to harm the land and the sea, "Do not harm the land or the sea or the trees until we put a seal on the foreheads of the servants of God." Then I heard the numbers of those who were sealed, 144,000 from the tribes. So really, if you think about two riders were approaching, two seals left to approach, when the wind begins to howl, the four winds of the earth are preventing damage on those who are sealed. It, to me, made perfect sense as to what the Lord was describing to me with that particular song, and then questions about Revelation. So that puts us basically, as far as the time period that I'm giving, just speaking from logical, kind of makes sense in your head kind of deal, that we have already gone through the first five, and there are two more seals yet to go. And of course, of those two seals is when something great happens. And in this it says, when the sixth seal is opened, the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the great face who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of wrath has come. Who can withstand it?" And then before that, as I watched, he opens the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red, and the stars in the sky fell to earth, as figs drop from a tree, which are shaken by a strong wind. The heavens receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. So this, to me, is saying, clearly we have seen earthquakes, we have seen blood moons, we have seen the sun darkened in eclipses, we have seen strong winds, we have seen all kind of stuff, but have we really seen an event that literally has shook every single mountain and removed it from its place? And I cannot find a single event in history where all of this happened. So I can't find a great earthquake in which turned the sun black and the moon blood red and stars fell from the sky. I can't find a single incident which has been so groundbreaking that all of this happened at one time. And that is indeed the first seal, which I cannot explain, logically speaking, that all of those events has happened at the same time. The first 5 seals, I can explain things in which they have happened, times and places in history where they certainly have happened. Whenever I hit the 6th seal, I cannot explain it. I can explain every single one of those as happening at some point in time, but not something that catastrophic, that the whole entire world is basically turned upside down. And that is what indeed happens when that 6th seal is released. People are falling or hiding in caves. They're in the mountains, they're in the rocks. We don't see that now. People are still living in the city, oblivious to what's going on. Whenever that 6th seal opens, there will be no more people looking around obliviously about it. We're all going to understand what's going on. People won't believe it's biblically happening, but they'll see a gigantic disaster coming over the earth, those who are not of God during those times. So we know once that 6th seal happens, that's whenever the people from the tribes of Israel are sealed, the 144,000, and they are protected by God. They are kept by God through that time period. Now, whether that's a rapture and we're off this place, or whether we're just protected by the seal and the angels don't look at us like in the Passover incident, I don't know how that particularly works. The Lord hasn't led me to it. But we, of course, all can speculate on that. So then after that, of course, we have the 7th seal. And after the 7th seal and the silence in heaven, that's whenever the 7 angels stand before God and 7 trumpets given to them. And of those 7 trumpets comes the most devastating time period of events that anyone will see or have ever seen. Because we know what those trumpets represent. They're the 7 trumpets of the angel, and they're starting to pour out the wrath. So I cannot explain those 7 trumpets either, all happening in succession like it is in Revelation. You can look at it symbolically and say that those things have happened, but it still doesn't explain everything of the first 5 seals that I can explain history-wise where they have come from, but then I can't explain the 6th and the 7th seal. But that's why 2 riders were approaching when the wind begins to howl. So that wind right now is being kept at bay. That 6th seal has not opened yet, according to my interpretations of this stuff, and according to what the Lord has showed me. But indeed, He is showing me that those 2 riders are approaching. So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter to sit and wait. That's just my take on Revelations chapters 6 and 7. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of different takes on those chapters and what they mean. That's just what the Lord has showed me to look out for as far as understanding what those seals mean. So I hope all of you enjoy this, and God bless you. And obviously, if you have any questions, you can certainly ask me in the comments, or if you have other things in which you'd like to add, certainly feel free to do so, because we're all looking for answers for things, and we all will never find all of the answers. But the more unity we have with understanding things, the more clearer the message is going to be from the Lord. So God bless you, and I'll see you all later.